Hello guys, Crafty here, and today I'm bringing you another board game review, or more like a preview of a game, and it is called Expresso. Expresso is a game for 2 to 6 players made by the wonderful people at TCN Games. Now, you may have not heard of this game, in fact probably you haven't heard of this game. I found this little gem at Too Many Games a few months back, I believe it was, and I had the pleasure of demoing it, and I really liked this game, so much that I pretty much bought it on the spot. So, what do you do in Expresso? Well, glad you asked. The object of Expresso is that you are a barista. These are the Barista Cards. You're a barista and you are trying to get as many tips from customers as you can before the end of the game. The problem is the longer your customers wait, the less tips you're going to receive. So the game is about speed and satisfying customers' needs and wants. Now this is a competitive game, but it is also sort of a trading game, because you can trade some of your ingredients back and forth between players. So it's sort of a Catan sort of thing where you can trade, but you don't want to trade too much because your opponents, you don't want your opponents to get ahead, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, like I said, the whole point of Expresso is to get the most tips at the end of the game, and you do that by playing barista cards. Now, you get dealt a barista card, and in this example here, this is Mitch. He is a manager. And on the barista card you have a couple of things here. This little coin symbol right here is how much salary the barista has. Try to get that a little bit framed a little better. There we go. It's how much salary the barista has. Salary determines how many cards you draw at the beginning of your turn. If the number's 5, then you draw 5 cards at the beginning of your turn. Now the little running man right here, that's how many actions you are allowed per turn. It costs 1 action to complete an order and 1 action to trade with another player. Some baristas also have additional actions or additional abilities that allow them to spend actions, such as send a barista on break, send any one barista on break, causing them to miss their next turn. That costs 3 actions to play, so while you can screw another player out of a turn, you kind of screw yourself out of a turn. You can give a complimentary drink, fulfill a customer's order, removing them from play, receive no tip, so there is a 3 right there. That could be handy if you have a, say your opponent has a really good customer that you can't fulfill an order, you don't want them fulfilling it, so you can give them a drink, send them on their way. You can give a particularly ornery customer a complimentary drink, send them on their way. And all baristas come with their own special ability at the bottom. Mitch can remove all impatient tokens from a single customer. This task costs all of his actions. Next, we are going to discuss customers. Now, this is a customer card. This is Brad. Say hello, Brad. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see his job description, which is an executive, and on the left-hand side, you see his preference. Now, this particular gentleman likes to talk on the cell phone a lot. Some customers will have certain preferences, some will have certain non-preferences, if you wish to call it that. For example, Donna. Donna does not like hearing people talk on their cell phones, so while she's in the gaming area, she will come into play with an impatient marker, because she doesn't want to be there while someone is talking on their cell phone. Now, there are 6 in total. As you can see, there's smoking, people who don't like to be around smokers, family people, and people who just generally do not like families or children. There is also this little gem right here. If you draw this, this is pretty much a reserved table. It sits in your gaming area until 2 turns. After those 2 turns, your spot opens back up and you can have another customer. So let's get back to Brad here. In the right hand side, you see their attention level. Now, some customers have more on their minds than others, and some baristas can actually benefit off of this by substituting an ingredient and doing other sort of shenanigans to get them on their merry way and get the maximum tip involved. Now, you see here on the right hand side here, different levels of tips. Now when they come into play, generally, they come into play without any impatient markers on them. Once they come into play, you can try to fulfill their order. In Brad's case, you need 1 cup of coffee, 1 artificial sweetener, 1 milk, 1 Irish cream, and if you wish to fulfill the shot of espresso, it is not mandatory because it is in green. You get a bonus of 1 tip. You can complete the order without doing the green step. That is a bonus. If you fulfill his order by cashing in a cup of coffee, artificial sweetener, and milk and an Irish cream, and there's no impatient markers on him, you will get 3 tip. And he is discarded. If you fulfill his order with the shot of espresso at the exact time you fulfill his order, you get a bonus 1 tip, so you get 4 overall. Next, let's talk about the stockroom. The stockroom is where you're going to find your ingredients in order to fulfill your customers' orders. Now, in the stockroom, you find a slew of different types of ingredients. Chai tea, Wi-Fi, shot of peppermint, muffin, whipped topping, milk, artificial sweetener, sugar, shot of espresso, chocolate, cinnamon, cup of coffee, apple juice, so many ingredients. Okay. On your turn, when you draw your ingredients, you have the chance to fulfill a customer's order. You can also trade as an action with other people across the table. You can trade, well, anything for anything, really. It's really up to the other people to trade what they want with you. They want certain ingredients and you want certain ingredients, so it could be a good back and forth. Now, when you draw cards, you have a hand limit of 9. So you have to discard at the end of your turn, down to 9 if you cannot use any of your ingredient cards. Now when you draw your cards from the stockroom, sometimes you'll get a notice card. These little annoying things are notice cards. Once you draw a notice card, you must fulfill it. This one, particularly, emergency at home. End your shift early and perform no other actions until your next shift. The milk was bad. Your barista needs to visit the hospital. Select a random barista and continue to play as them. Employee of the month. Trade this card for 2 extra actions, 2 extra ingredients on a future shift. Once you use discard. And night on the town. Your boss won't be thrilled, but at least you have a good time. End your shift early and perform no other actions until your next shift. So that's the basics of the game, and like every other review that I do, I always like to show you how it's played, because that's, in my opinion, the best way how to teach a game. Now, there are some things that I missed earlier, which I will be going over now because we will be playing the game. Now, I have a mock game set up between Mitch and Debbie here. You've seen Mitch before. Let's see how Debbie fares up. She draws 4 cards a turn and has 4 actions on her turn. On her turn, she can clean the bathrooms for 2 actions, find a wall in the bathroom, remove 1 impatient token from 1 customer, or she can spill a customer's coffee for 3 actions, knock over a customer's coffee, add 2 impatient tokens to 1 customer. And her ability is Debbie may use all of her actions and blindly select 2 cards from another player's hand. These cards are out of play for 1 full shift, but still count toward the player's limit. So she's very good at screwing over customers. To begin the game, we start by shuffling the stockroom, which I have taken liberty of doing beforehand, and we deal out 5 cards to each player. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, see who goes first. We'll say Mitch goes first, because we really don't have a way of determining who goes first. Probably dice rolls, but Mitch is going to start with 2 cups of coffee, an artificial sweetener, a milk, and a shot of cinnamon. So there you have it. Now, on his turn, draws a customer, puts it down in front of him. This is Jess. Jess is into family. She needs a cup of coffee, an artificial sweetener, a shot of peppermint, a whipped topping, and potentially an apple juice. She's worth a possible 4 tip. Her attention level is at 3. But Mitch doesn't really do anything with attention levels, so there is that. Mitch, at the beginning of his turn, draws 5 cards, because that is the number on the right. Now, can he complete anything here? Did he draw a shot of peppermint? He did not. So, we have the cups of coffee. He drew cinnamon, a muffin, 2 chai teas, an apple juice, and a gift card. So he does have the bonus if he possibly does. Now, Debbie, since this is a trading card game, actually does have the shot of peppermint right there. But will she be willing to take it? Now, the benefit of this game is you, as a barista, can take other people's customers. So Debbie, on her turn, if she could not fulfill her customer's order, she could actually go over to Mitch's customer, and say, hey, I can fulfill your order over here. She goes over, she takes the tip. She would get full tip and the bonus if she desired to pay for the bonus, but Mitch gets at least 1 tip for starting with the customer. So, looking through his hand, Mitch realizes that he needs at least a shot of peppermint, and he doesn't have the whipped topping either. So, he's going to ask across the table, hey, does anybody have whipped topping? Debbie, do you have whipped topping? And she's going to say, no, sorry, no whipped topping. So Mitch really doesn't have any other choice on his turn except to discard, because he has 10 cards now. So he will discard a gift card. Gift card is exclusively a bonus item. So Mitch will discard that to the side, and it's now Debbie's turn. Debbie draws 4 cards. And draws customer. Debbie drew Steven. Steven likes to talk on the cell phone. Not a problem, because Jess does not have any dislikes. He desires a cup of coffee, sugar, a shot of peppermint, Wi-Fi, and whipped topping. Well, the Wi-Fi is the bonus. So overall he's worth a potential 3 and has an attention level of 3. So that's Debbie's customer right there. And as I said before, if Debbie so chooses, she could take Mitch's customer, get the full amount of tip. Mitch would then only get 1 tip in return. So looking through her hand, she really doesn't have anything remotely close to getting that. So since she really can't do anything with the hand she's dealt, she's going to spill a customer's coffee. Add 2 impatient tokens to 1 customer. These little black cubes that have been in the upper right hand corner for this whole entire review are impatient tokens. So what happens when an impatient token is added, it is added like this. You place the impatient token right over the tip. Now with the light the way it is, you really can't see the second tip, but you place it over the marker right there so you can't see the best tip. Once there are no more tips available, that customer has pretty much given up on the order and then decides to leave. So in this case, Debbie uses 3 of her actions to place 2 impatient tokens on Jess, leaving her with only 1 tip remaining and the potential for the bonus tip. Now, if Mitch or Debbie would fulfill the order now, it's only worth 1 tip. It is not worth 3 anymore. At the start of Mitch's next turn, Jess receives another impatient marker because she has been waiting at least 1 full turn. And because this customer is now worth no tip, the customer has grown impatient and leaves the area because she waited too long for her order. At the beginning of the barista's turn, another customer is laid out. This is Brian. Brian likes to talk on the cell phone, and his requirements are a cup of coffee, artificial sweetener, milk, Irish cream, and a shot of espresso as a bonus, and has an attention level of 2. Steven likes to talk on the cell phone too, so they have something in common. Not that that matters, it's just a gameplay mechanic that is there. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards for Mitch. And can he fulfill this order? Let's see. He has a cup of coffee, an artificial sweetener, milk. Ooh, ooh, he can. Okay, Irish cream. And does he have a shot of espresso? He does not. Okay. So, Mitch for one action is going to use a cup of coffee, artificial sweetener, milk, and an Irish cream to fulfill Brian's order. Those ingredients are discarded. Mitch did not have the shot of espresso, so he's only going to receive 3 tip. So Mitch receives 3 points right there to show that he has 3 tip. The customer is then discarded once used. Now Mitch has 2 more actions, but there is nothing really much else he can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. So he's going to discard. A muffin is a bonus item, so we will ditch the muffin. There's that. Now it's Debbie's turn. Debbie's customer, Steven, gains an impatient token because he has been waiting 1 full turn. Debbie then draws Matt, who we saw earlier. Matt does not like family cards that are in play. Steven likes to talk on the cell phone, not a problem. Matt requires 1 cup of coffee, 2 sugar ingredients, a milk, a whipped topping, and a yogurt for a bonus, and is worth a potential 4 points. It has an attention level of 2. Debbie draws her 4 cards. 2, 3, 4. See if she can fulfill any one of her orders. She needs at least a cup of coffee. Does she have it? She does not even have a cup of coffee, so she's going to try to trade for a cup of coffee. Mitch really doesn't need anything right now, but being the generous guy that he is, he's going to give up his cup of coffee for, let's see, what would she, or what would Mitch want to have? Mitch doesn't have any milk left. So Mitch is going to take a milk, and Mitch is going to give a cup of coffee to Debbie. Now, can Debbie still fulfill any orders? She needs at least 2 sugar. She has no sugar. She has no sugar at all. So with her actions, she's already traded, so she's down to 3 actions. She's going to use 2 of her actions, I should say, to clean the bathrooms. Remove 1 impatient token from 1 customer. So that is gone. Debbie, for her remaining action, is going to see if Mitch has any sugar that he's willing to give up. Mitch, I do not believe Mitch has any sugar. He does not have any sugar, so Debbie gives up the rest of her turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 cards, so she's going to drop quite a few cards here into the discard pile right there. And play passes back to Mitch. We are back to Mitch's turn. Now Mitch draws his 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, he drew 3 sugars on that turn. I drew 3 sugars. And he gets his customer, Heather. Heather's preference is family. She needs 2 cups of coffee. She really likes her coffee. She likes artificial sweetener, a shot of peppermint, chocolate, and an apple juice as a bonus, and is worth a potential 5 this time, and her attention level is 3. Now, her preference is family. Matt, being the grump that he is, doesn't like family. So when Heather comes into play, Matt gets an impatient token because he doesn't particularly like kids, let's say. So he wants to get out of there even faster. Now Mitch on his turn drew a lot of cards. He doesn't have 2 cups of coffee. However, if I am correct, he does have enough to fulfill Steven's order. So I know he has a cup of coffee. Mitch has a cup of coffee, a sugar, shot of peppermint, and a whipped topping. Does he have the Wi-Fi? He does not. But Mitch is going to use one action to fulfill Steven's order, taking Debbie's customer from her. So he's going to spend the cup of coffee, the sugar, the whipped topping, and the shot of peppermint right there. He's going to discard those, and he's going to take 2 tip, because that's how much Steven is worth. 2 tip. That's a 3. 1, 2. So Mitch gets 2 tip for that. Debbie gets at least 1 tip because that was her customer, and it's only fair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. Let's pitch an extra milk. Do that. So Mitch is soundly in the lead with 3, 4, 5 tip versus Debbie's 1 tip. So it's Debbie's turn. Let's see what she can do. Erin. A stay-at-home mom. Uh-oh, another family person. She wants a cup of coffee, artificial sweetener, milk, and an apple juice, and is worth a potential 4, but has 3 tip there with an attention level of 2. Now, because Erin is a family person, Matt's impatient marker gets added, and it's been a full round since Matt's been there. Matt just got 2 impatient tokens in 1 turn. Matt has no more tip to give. He gets fed up with all the kids running around, and he says, I'll go get my drink elsewhere. Now, Debbie has to draw her 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can she fulfill this order? She has a cup of coffee. I do not see an artificial sweetener. No. She does have a milk. I do believe I saw milk. I believe I'm wrong. So, she cannot fulfill that order. How about over here? I did not see a second cup of coffee or an artificial sweetener. So Debbie, once again, cannot fulfill another order. However, she's going to try to screw Mitch out of as much as possible. So she's going to use 3 of her actions to add 2 impatient tokens to Heather over here, basically ruining Heather's chance of sticking around. So she spilled her coffee all over Heather. Heather gets really irritated and just wants to leave now at this point. So with 1 action remaining, Debbie really can't do anything but trade, but Mitch didn't like that action, so he's not going to trade with her this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's get rid of those. And that is basically a few rounds of the game. Now, as you see, there are a few times, and I have run into this quite a few times, where you draw ingredients and your customers cannot be fulfilled even once. However, the benefit is that you can take any customer that is on the board, so there is that part of the game that you can look forward to, and your abilities can be kind of useful. And with Debbie, since she couldn't use any of her ingredients to fulfill her customers' orders, she was using her actions to the best of her ability to screw the other players out of as much as she could with her actions. So there is that little aspect of the game so far, but those are just a few turns to what I consider an otherwise unique and interesting game. I really like the impatient markers and the impatient tokens on the characters. It really shows how was they urgent? Yeah, urgent. How urgent some of the things can be, and of course when you get multiple people with multiple abilities, it starts to get incredibly hectic, as I found out. But that is all the much more fun of the game, because once you have more people, you can trade more. People are more willing to help out each other. Of course, the actual number of tip that you need to win actually decreases as well. Or no, it increases. 4 more players, the first person to achieve the tip value of 20 wins. When whereas a 2 to 3 player game you need 15 to win. So orders will be flying all around the table, ingredients will be flying, customers will be coming in and out of the store left and right, and baristas will be fulfilling orders and irritating customers as much as they see fit. I hope you liked this little demo of the game. I do believe this is a first run copy. I'm not exactly sure on that, as I had just run into TCN games at Too Many Games. So I do believe they are going to be running a Kickstarter on this game relatively shortly, and I do hope that they use this video in their promotion, because that would be fantastic. A few things I would like to see different. This always gives me a little bit of confusion. The customer and barista cards are the exact same, except for the font on the bottom. There have been times when cards do get mixed up, so that's one thing. The markers here are just standard. I don't know how to say paper. They're not cardboard, but they're sturdy. But some wood tokens might be in order, especially for a Kickstarter incentive, let's say, stretch goals and all that stuff. Other than that, I mean, I like the art. I've heard some complaints from them of other customers that they've heard from, that the art was too cartoony, needed to be more realistic. I don't think so. I don't think it needs to be more realistic. It's charming. Let's call it that. It's charming. You don't need realism in a game. I mean, it's just play a game to have fun. You don't need that sort of realism aspect. That's just my opinion. I like the cartoony graphics. Keep them. They're fun and nice and charming. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy the demo of Expresso here. Like always, like it, share it. And hopefully the Kickstarter will be going up soon for this game, because I really want to see this game succeed. I really like this game. I liked it when I played it at Too Many Games, and like I said, I bought it on the spot. So, I mean, I couldn't go wrong. This is a really fun game to sit down with 2 people or 6 people. I've played it with a gambit of people, and it's enjoyable any way you look at it with the number of people you have playing with you. So, I hope you enjoyed this demo, and thank you guys for watching, and take care.